Corbyn!
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Could I start by welcoming the child refugees that have arrived in Britain in the last few days? They're obviously deeply traumatised young people, and we should welcome them and love them and support them in the best way that we possibly can. Mr. Speaker, irrespective of party, when members of this House go through health problems, we reach out the hand of support and solidarity and friendship to them. I just want to pay tribute to the member for Grantham and Stamford for the social media message he sent out this morning. It shows amazing humour and bravery, and we wish him all the very best and hope he fully recovers from this. Mr. Speaker, there are now to be regular sessions of the Joint Ministerial Council to discuss Brexit. But it seems the Prime Minister's counterparts are already feeling the same sense of frustration as members of this House. The First Minister for Wales, Corbyn Jones, said there is a great deal of uncertainty, but they are clear they need full and unfettered access to the single market. Can the Prime Minister help the First Minister of Wales, and indeed the other devolved administrations, by giving them some clarity?
Well, First of all, can I commend, in response to the comments that the Right Honourable Gentleman made, can I commend the Home Office for the work that it's been doing in ensuring that it is working carefully to look at the best interests of the child refugees so that they are provided with the support that they need when they come here to the United Kingdom. Can I also join him in commending my honourable friend, the member for Grantham and Stamford, for being willing to be so open about the health problem that he has, and we wish him all the very best for the future and for his place here in this House. In relation to the issue of clarity on the aims that the government has in relation to Brexit, I have been very clear, and I will be clear again. There are those who talk about means and those who talk about ends. I'm talking about ends. What we want to see is the best possible arrangement for trade with and operation within the single European market for businesses in goods and services here in the United Kingdom.
I thought for a moment the Prime Minister was going to say Brexit means Brexit again. There are others... I'm sure she'll tell us one day what it actually means. The Mayor of London also added this is causing unnecessary certainty, but it's also very important. Uncertainty. Mr. Speaker, it would be also very helpful if the Prime Minister could provide some clarity over the Northern Ireland border. Will we continue membership of the Customs Union, or are we going to see border checks introduced between Northern Ireland and the Republic?
The Leader of the Opposition tries to poke fun at the phrase of Brexit means Brexit, but the whole point is this. Brexit, it's this government that is listening to the voice of the British people. Brexit means Brexit. That means we're coming out of the European Union. What the Right Honourable Gentleman tries to be doing is frustrating the will of the British people by saying that Brexit means something completely different. Now, in relation to the Northern Irish border, a considerable amount of work was already going on with taking place with the Irish government to look at the issues around the common travel area. That work is continuing. We have been very clear, the government of the Republic of Ireland have been very clear, the Northern Ireland Executive has been very clear that none of us want to see a return to the borders of the past. And I would simply remind the Right Honourable Gentleman that the common travel area has been in place since 1923, which was well before either of us joined the European Union.
Mr. Speaker, on Monday the Prime Minister said the Customs Union was not a binary choice. Well, I can't think of anything other than a binary choice is whether you have a border or you don't have a border. There isn't a third way on that one. On Monday, her friend, the Honourable Member for Broxtowe, expressed concern of the automotive and aerospace industries, while the British Banking Association said its members are poised quivering over the relocate button. Every day the Prime Minister dithers over this chaotic Brexit, employers delay investment, and there are rumours circulating about relocation. This cannot carry on until March of next year. When is the Prime Minister going to come up with a plan?
I have to say to the right honourable gentleman, I think the fact that he seems to confuse a customs union with a border, where they are actually two different issues, shows why it is important that it is this party that is in government and dealing with these issues, and not his. He talks about the plan. I've been very clear. I've been very clear that we want to trade freely with both trade with and operate within the single European market. I want this country to be a global leader in free trade. The Labour Party is against free trade. I want to introduce control on free movement, so that we have an end of free movement. The Labour Party wants to continue with free movement. I want to deliver on the will of the British people. He is trying to frustrate the will of the British people.
Well, Mr. Speaker, there was no answer on the border, which was the question. And on Monday, Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister told the House, and I quote, "We have a plan which is not to set out at every stage of the negotiation the details." I've been thinking about this for a couple of days, Mr. Speaker, and I think when you're searching for the real meaning behind and the importance behind the Prime Minister's statement, you have to consult the great philosophers. The only one I can come up with.
Mr. Cleverly, calm yourself. You're imperiling your own health, man, which is a source of great concern to me. Jeremy Corbyn.
What I can come up with, Mr. Speaker, is Baldrick, who says our cunning plan is to have no plan. Brexit was apparently about taking back control, but the devolved governments don't know the plan. Businesses don't know the plan. Parliament doesn't know the plan. When will the Prime Minister abandon this shambolic Tory Brexit and develop a plan that delivers for the whole country?
I'm interested that the right honourable gentleman chose to support Baldrick. Of course, the actor playing Baldrick was a member of the Labour Party, as I recall. I'll tell the right honourable gentleman what we're going to deliver. We are going to deliver on the vote of the British people. We're going to deliver the best possible deal for trade in goods and services, both with and operation within the European Union. And we're going to deliver an end to free movement. That's what the British people want, and that's what this government's going to deliver for them.
Mr. Speaker, 3 years ago, the United Kingdom backed Saudi Arabia for membership of the UN Human Rights Council. On the 28th of October, there are elections again for the UN Human Rights Council. A UN panel has warned that Saudi Arabia's bombing of Yemen has violated international law. Amnesty International says, and I quote, "Executions are on the increase. Women are widely discriminated against. Torture is common, and human rights organisations are banned." So will her government again be backing the Saudi dictatorship for membership of that committee?
As the right honourable gentleman knows, where there are legitimate human rights concerns in relation to Saudi Arabia, then we raise them. In relation to the action in the Yemen, we have been clear that we want those incidents that have been referred to be properly investigated, and we want the Saudi Arabians, if there are lessons to be learned from those, to learn lessons from those. But I will reiterate a point that I've made in this House before, that our relationship with Saudi Arabia is an important relationship. It's a particularly important relationship in relation to the security of this country and counter-terrorism and foiling activities of those who would wish to do citizens harm here in the UK.
Jeremy Corbyn.
Mr. Speaker, Tahir Qasim, a Yemeni man who lives in Liverpool, told me this week that Yemen is quickly becoming the forgotten crisis. If people aren't being killed by bombs, it's hunger that kills them. The UK needs to use its influence to help the people of Yemen. Bombs exported from Britain are being dropped on Yemeni children by Saudi pilots trained by Britain. If there are war crimes being committed, then, as the UN suggests, they must be investigated. Isn't it about time this government suspended its arms sales to Saudi Arabia?
The issues are being investigated, I say to the right honourable gentleman, and we have taken action. He's right to refer to the humanitarian crisis in the Yemen, and this country is one of those that is in the forefront of ensuring that humanitarian aid is provided. That is a record of which I believe that this country and this government can be proud around the world in terms of the actions that have been taken. It is important. There was a cessation of hostilities in the Yemen, which was for a period of 72 hours over the weekend. As I've referred to in this House on Monday, I spoke to the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi at the weekend, and one of the issues we discussed was the importance of trying to find a political solution in Yemen and seeing, if possible, that cessation of hostilities could be continued. It hasn't been continued, but we're very clear that the only solution that is going to work for the Yemen is actually to make sure that we have that political solution that will give stability in the Yemen.
Angus Robertson.
Thank you very much. The Scottish Poppy Appeal is launched today for parliamentarians, so can I take the opportunity to praise all of the fundraisers, the volunteers and the veterans involved, and I'm sure colleagues in other parts of the House will commend efforts to raise money for the Poppy Appeal in the rest of the United Kingdom as well. Mr. Speaker, one of the biggest humanitarian catastrophes of our time is in Syria, specifically in Aleppo, where we expect a ceasefire to end shortly and an onslaught to begin. Will the Prime Minister tell us what efforts the UK is currently undertaking to support a peaceful resolution to the conflict, but also to deal with those who are exacerbating the situation?
Well, first of all, may I join the right honourable gentleman in commending and praising the work of all those across the whole of the United Kingdom who give their time and efforts to raise money for the Poppy Appeal. It is very important that we never forget those through many conflicts who have given of themselves for the safety and security of us. And it is important that we recognise that and give generously to the Poppy Appeal over the United Kingdom. In relation to Syria, of course, it is important to approach this in a number of tracks. We are involved. My right honourable friend, the Foreign Secretary, has been involved in discussions with the United States Secretary of State, Senator Kerry, about these, Secretary of State Kerry, about these particular issues, looking for that way forward. I raised the issue of Russian actions in Syria, particularly the bombing of Aleppo, at the European Union Council at the end of last week. It was only on the agenda because the UK had raised it, and as a result of that discussion, the EU agreed that should the atrocities continue, then we will look at all available options for taking action to put pressure on Russia to stop their indiscriminate bombing of innocent civilians.
Angus Robertson.
I commend the Prime Minister for those endeavours, but it's widely expected that the onslaught on Aleppo will be unleashed by Russian air power, which is currently steaming across the Mediterranean aboard the Admiral Kuznetsov and its battle group. In recent years, more than 60 Russian naval vessels have refuelled and resupplied in Spanish ports. Whoa. So will the Prime Minister join me and EU and NATO allies in unequivocally calling on Spain to refuse the refuelling?
The right honourable gentleman refers to the passage of Russian naval ships, and of course on the high seas they are able to travel as they wish, although of course when they went through the English Channel they were accompanied by Royal Naval vessels as they went through. But what we have seen, sadly, is that the Russians are already able to unleash attacks on innocent civilians in Syria. What matters is that we put pressure on Russia to do what everybody agrees is the only way that we are going to resolve this issue, which is to ensure that we have a political transition in Syria, and that's where we should focus our attention.